What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Friday Night Prepper pre-party show. So good to see you all. Wow, I am looking orange tonight. Let's see if we can do something about that. That's red. We might just have to go back to orange. All right, we got some lighting issues. We'll deal with it. Anyways, you guys know the rules here. You guys know the rules here. No racism, no sexism. Be kind to the moderators, and other than that, you are welcome to disagree with anything I say. I do ask that you please articulate your point, and that way I can understand what it is that you're trying to say, other than just "you're stupid, Sarge." That's not very helpful for me. Other than that, we usually have a good time here, and we have a topic that I'm sure you are all getting all too familiar with here. Let's get a few things going here. So number one, we've got a challenge going tonight. So if we get, I think we had 4 more to go. Let's see where we're at with this. We get 4. Scott Hummer gave me a super chat earlier. If we get 4 more tonight at the end of the stream, I will let AI roast me. And I've already got that set up and ready to go. So 4 more super chats tonight. Just a little way to help out the channel. Nobody's obligated to do that, of course. Appreciate you. So that's just a little bonus content you'll get at the end if we meet our goal. I do need to give a shout out to the sponsor for today's video. Sponsor for today's video is, of course, our friends at AppMax. AppMax is my choice for silver and gold. And right now they are doing a fantastic sale. All of August, actually, they've been doing sales. But the one they've got going on right now is the Collector's Vault sale, which you can see on there with some really cool stuff that's been sitting in their vault, waiting for you to purchase it. Okay. And next week, starting on, I think it's August 25th. Let me double check this for you. Yeah, starting on August 25th, they are doing the final step to the sale. What is going on? So it's the Monday, August 25th, starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It is going to be the last step of the 25th anniversary month sale. And it will feature some steep discounts on customer favorites, the biggest deals of the year, and $25 reward on some qualifying orders. So I do not have full details yet. You're going to have to tune in to AppMax next week, starting on Monday, August 25th at 11 a.m. to see what those deals are. And I will go ahead and roll the link down at the bottom. Boom. There you go. So the link is also in the description of the video below, so make sure you check that out. Go to AppMax, use my link. It is not an affiliate link. It just lets them know that I'm getting the message out, so I don't get any kind of commission off that link. It just helps them track on how well I'm doing on getting the video out. And let me show you just a couple quick examples. You can get a silver maple leaf over there. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, they've got some of your favorites, the American Eagle, or my favorites. And one more. And then, of course, they've got Mexican Libertads over there as well, all silver. And they've got gold as well, including a little bit of gold jewelry too. So make sure you check them out and tell them Prepping with Sarge sent you. All right, let's go ahead and say hi to chat. Appreciate everybody giving me a little bit of their Friday night here. Lazarus Long, thank you so much. Scott Hummer, thank you again for being one of the first ones here. Prepper for the Ages. And Scott, thank you again for that super chat that you gave me. Really appreciate you. I look forward to these lives, man. I look forward to coming on here and connecting with the audience. It's one of the best parts of my week, actually. I love Friday nights and getting to go live with you all. Sunflower, thanks for joining us. Corsair Trainers, how are you doing today, Steve? No problem. Thanks for letting me know that you're lurking. Wayne, how are you doing tonight? Thank you. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, thank you so much. Yeah, if you get anything out of the video tonight, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to check in the description for some discounts for products that I think you'll like. Vanessa Kitty, thank you. Did I miss anybody? Cold War Prepper Lee, how are you doing? Checking in from Central Texas. Burpee Yoga Uncle, aloha to you. All right, and couple last QC Farmer, thank you so much. Cuke V Farmer, thank you so much. Make sure you check out the live stream that I did with Mike and Livingston Man on Wednesday night over on their channel. Basically, similar to what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm doing a little bit more tonight about kind of shaking it up a little bit with this topic about the sleeper cells. But make sure you check that out. We had a great stream, and even though it's a very serious topic, we actually had a little fun too. And then next Thursday night, I'm going to be guesting on Vision Preparedness's channel. So you make sure you join us over there and check out both Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival and Vision Preparedness. Great channels that you should be subscribed to, please. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So as I was thinking about in the aftermath of the live stream that I did with Mike and Livingston Man over on the Hudson Valley channel, I started thinking about, okay, well, I've been trying to tell people about this sleeper cell threat, and I'm just going to throw it out there real quick for anybody that hasn't heard about this yet, like if you're brand new to my channel or your first time you're tuning in. So this information comes from Sarah Adams, former CIA targeter, who has revealed via the Sean Ryan show and other sources that there's intel that Al-Qaeda and ISIS-K have trained soldiers that are in the United States. They think the number is over 1,000, and they're in sleeper cells. So if you don't know what a sleeper cell is, basically it's a group of people that exist within a foreign country waiting for orders. Okay, so they're just living amongst you and I, waiting for orders. And she also said that they believe that these sleeper cells are compartmentalized, meaning if, let's say, ICE picks up a few of these people and they start squeezing them for intel, they won't even have that much to share because each one only has a little bit of information. Oh, thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate that. Yeah, you guys want to see that, I'm sure. AI is going to light me up. And then the last bit of intel that she released that I've seen, if there's more, I haven't seen it yet, was that they want to do this in 3 stages. The attack will probably come in 3 stages, which is basically first stage would be hitting a soft target, maybe a school, maybe a hospital, maybe something else that we haven't thought of. That's going to generate 911 calls. 911 will send first responders to the scene. And then when first responders to the scene, stage 2 of the attack would take place, which is a double tap. They're going to do probably some kind of explosion or something like that to try to take out as many of the first responders as they can. That would begin stage 3, which would basically mean now that all the first responders in that area are injured or occupied, they would go on a rampage around the area, similar to what Israel saw on October 7th a couple of years ago when Hamas came in and basically just massacred. I can't remember the number. I think it was over 1,400 people. And they want to do this in multiple cities simultaneously in the United States. So that's the intel. They believe they're here. After Israel had attacked Iran a couple months ago, Iran had threatened to activate sleeper cells that exist within the United States, and the United States, through media, acknowledged that they are aware of the sleeper cell threat. So so this is not like doom porn or just conspiracy theory or anything like that. The United States government, through the U.S. media, has acknowledged that there are sleeper cells in the United States. So of course we all have lots of questions like, why hasn't ICE picked these guys up? Why haven't they attacked yet? Well, these groups tend to be very patient. They're probably planning something big. We know that we have the anniversary of September 11th coming up. We know that next year is the 275th anniversary for the United States, 275th birthday for the United States. It could be something else entirely. It could be coordinated with a big sporting event. Who knows? Unless more intel leaks, that's what we got to go on right now. All right. So I've been trying to get this message out to people in the community. What can you do about it? Well, I don't think you should live your life in fear. I also don't think you should look around at anybody who looks a little bit different than you and say, oh, they must be a terrorist, because it's not that simple, folks. In fact, we should hopefully all have friends that are diverse, and most people who look different than you are not the problem, right? So it goes deeper than this. You're going to have to look for people acting suspicious, right? Like, what would that look like? I don't know. Maybe somebody sitting in a van. Oh, thank you so much, Scott. Maybe someone sitting in a van taking pictures of a school or a hospital. That would be suspicious, wouldn't it? So what would you do? Well, try not to be caught by them. Take a picture of the license plate, make a description, call 911, tell them what you see. Okay. Take a picture of the van if you can. More importantly, learn first aid. If something big goes down like this and you happen to be near it, you might be the new first responder. Congratulations. I hope you know first aid and CPR. If you concealed carry, make sure you're practicing. right? Make sure you are training. Make sure you're getting good training. I just did a live stream with Steve, Corsair Trainers, and Wayne, Becoming Dangerous. Go check that one out. Check out that video and check out their channels and try to get the information out there. I'm plugging this information hard this year because to me this is the biggest threat that's on the horizon. Okay, this is the one that I see. People say, "What are you prepping for?" Well, I'm prepping for all kinds of things, but this is the one that's got my attention right now. So you want to, get your good training on how to operate your weapon. If you carry a weapon, if you don't carry a weapon, are you at least trained in first aid? Do you have multiple ways to get home if you're at work when this goes down? Do you have different ways to communicate if the cell phone towers go down? Does your family know how to get to, if you have weapons at home, does your family know how to get to the weapons if you're not there? Does your family have a fallback point if they have to leave the area that they're in? Do you have a coordinated fallback point, right? These are all things that you should be thinking about as preppers, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get to the, so that's, I wanted to update everybody on that. Thank you for Never Stop Training, says Wayne. Learn Stop the Bleed. Yep. I would even add to this, learn mental health first aid in the aftermath of, let's say it's a scene like you see about, and this is AI generated, everybody calm down. If you see a scene like that, then you might be somebody that's responding to people that are in state of shock or that are dealing with the initial stages of a trauma response. Little mental health first aid will do a lot of good there. No problem. Thanks. That sounds good, Wayne. Actually making some split pea soup and ham hocks. Awesome. Love that. All right. So Orlando Prepper has been doing a lot of stuff on comms recently. Make sure you check out that stuff, right? Like the content's there, guys, but we gotta learn this. We gotta practice our skills. Yeah, that should be a good stream, Scott. We're gonna have some fun. We're actually gonna be talking a little bit more about trauma, PTSD, and mental health stuff, I think, on that one. We had a great discussion on Wednesday. All right, so now next part of this, you're right about the mental thing. People freaked out after Katrina. Yeah, Janet, thank you so much. So we talked about this a little bit too on Wednesday, that like, let's say something like this scene goes on and you happen to be there, you will see people get into a fight, flight, freeze mode. Okay. And that is, as much as we in the prepper community say, oh, I'm Billy Badass, right? Like I'd fight. Okay. That's what you think. But if you've never actually been trained, you never actually been in combat, then you really don't know, because that's made for you. That choice is made for you by your body and your genetics. Okay. Just like Sydney Sweeney has genes, you have genes too. And it's really important that you train, because training is like, that's why police academy, boot camp, firefighters academy, paramedic school, the purpose of those things is to train those people past freeze and flight. Okay, so you can overcome your genes unless you're Sydney Sweeney, and then she already has perfect genes, so she can't. There's nothing more that she can do about that. So you can train to overcome that, and then practice. If you happen to be on one of these scenes and you see somebody in freeze mode, and you'll know if you see it, if you've ever been in an emergency, which I've talked about some of the ones that I've been in and seen people in freeze mode, they just kind of stand there with like jaw slightly open and deer in headlights look, and they literally are like not responding, right? It's a biological response that their body has chosen for them. It's not a choice. And so what can you do? Well, if you're close enough to them and it's safe to do so, grab them, pull them down, and scream, we got to get down. That can shake them out of it. Okay. Make them look at you in the face and be like, we got to move. We got to get out of here. Do you know how, can you run? Do you know first aid? We got to get to that person. We got to get to this corner over here. Mike said the other day on the stream we were doing, know the difference between cover and concealment, right? And know which parts of your vehicle. Go watch that stream, guys. I don't want to give it all away here. Know which parts of your vehicle might be a little bit more effective for cover if there's firearms being shot at you, right? Think about if you can't get off the X and you're at your workspace, where are the places in your workspace that you can hide? You should know that. You should be, wherever you work, unless your location changes every day, which I understand for some of you it does. But for those of us who work in an office or a hospital or something like that, you should be going around and looking at all the closets and figuring out what rooms you can and can't get into, which rooms can be possible hiding spots. What are some of the exits that you've never taken before? Where do those lead to? Walk around the building, see where those exits come out to. Do you know how to get to the roof of your building? I do. Do you know how to get to the basement of your building? I do. Right. So you need to know all that stuff just in case you can't exit. You can't get off the X. Right. For your family at home, if you're not home, do they know how to board up the doors and the windows? Do you keep at least a half a tank of gas in your vehicles? Right. We're going to talk about that in a second, why that's super important. Do you have good first aid supplies at home and in the vehicle? Right. I don't lug around a full first aid kit with me all the time, but I do have a good one in my vehicle, and I have a pretty decent one when I'm doing like some day hiking and things like that. Right. So, but do I always carry it with me? No. Do I have something nearby? Usually, yes. So again, be realistic. There's also, I think it was Mike that was saying the other day, wilderness first aid. I can't remember if it was Mike or Livingston, man. They were talking about wilderness first aid, where basically you can learn how to do some stop the bleed and wilderness first aid stuff with just everyday items, like the shirt off your back, right? That was one of the first ways that I learned how to do first aid back in my days of Boy Scouts, was like, okay, well, what if you don't have anything with you? What do you have? You have a shirt. Could a shirt be made into bandages? Yeah. Can a guy take off his shirt in public? Yes, we can, right? Do I want people to see me without my shirt in public? No, but if I can save a life, I will do that, right? So that's some other stuff that you can work on. Good stress training on that first aid stuff too. I'm thinking about, because I've got some first aid gear that I need to review for you guys. That's coming up probably next week. And then I'm going to probably be filming some shorts with it. And I'm going to try doing my plan is to try to do some different things, which I haven't practiced in a while, but like, what if my one arm was damaged and I had to bandage it with the other one? I'm going to try to do that and maybe film that for you guys, and then try to do it. So I'm a righty. I'm going to try to do it left-handed, right? Like those are good skills to practice as well. Know how to do like improvised splints, know when you can and can't move a victim, all that stuff. Practice being a good witness, right? Well, how do we do that, Sarge? Okay, when you go out into public, this was actually one of my favorite games to play, and Mrs. Sarge will play it with me, as we do people watching. And you can just, all it does is it's training you to be situationally aware. So we will sometimes watch people and say, what do you think their profession is, right? Or sometimes I will watch people and I will try to figure out who's concealed carrying. Look for prints on their, a print is like when you can see it a little bit, like the outline of their weapon. Sometimes when we're getting on a plane and while we're waiting in the gate area, I'll think about, okay, if there was an incident on the plane and we need to now fight back against somebody who's trying to do some damage on the plane, who here looks like they're in good physical fitness shape? Who here looks like they might be prior military or possibly a first responder? And who here looks like they're going to be completely useless and I just need to get them out of my way if I have to act, right? Like that's good situational awareness. Play games with yourself like that person that I just passed in Target. What color shirt were they wearing, right? Most of the time our brain's not registering that, but if you can train your brain to do that. License plates. If you're at a stop sign, play the game of like, okay, let me see how many license plates I can remember before that light turns green. Can I remember at least the first 3 letters? Because that sometimes can be helpful. The first 3 letters and numbers of a license plate. Can I remember what makes and models? How about this one? On your drive into work, can you remember 2 or 3 vehicles that you passed, right? Good training for situational awareness. So those are different ways that you can learn to be a good witness, right? Because again, when fight, flight, freeze kicks in, what happens is the brain power shifts from up here, your upper brain, to your lower brain, which is more like down there. And it's that lower brain's really good at keeping you alive, really good at it. You'll get faster, stronger, more resilient to pain, and your brain processing speed will get clocked up. Prepper for the Ages, thank you so much. PTSD does suck, but we are going to do as much as we can to prevent it for people and help as many people as we can who are dealing with that. In fact, that's what I do for my day job, and I love it. I absolutely love my job. I could not be happier that I get the honor of helping people to learn to either regulate or sometimes resolve completely their PTSD. And it's hard for me to imagine a better job than what I get to do during the daytime. All right, let's pause there. Let's check your chat. Let's see. All right, scrolling back up. Okay. Lee says, Stop the Bleed is absolutely the best first aid class I have ever taken. It takes it to a new level. I love that. Thank you for that. Thank you for endorsing that. Mike says, please make a no comms plan with your family. Yeah. At minimum, have a designated place that all of your family members know if there's an emergency and you can't get home or you have to leave home, we're meeting here. And then even better than that, have another location that if that location's compromised, then we're going here, right? And make sure every family member knows how to get there, okay? Another good one, as far as if we're going to talk about comms for a second, let me put that back up on the board now. So if we're going to talk about comms for a second, have a code word for you and your spouse. Okay, so Mrs. Sarge knows that. Let's say that we're in a situation, we're coming out of a restaurant, and people are holding us at gunpoint and say, you know, your money or your life, whatever. Okay, you want my wallet, you can have my wallet, but if you try to touch me or my wife or put us into a vehicle or something like that, we're going into action. And there's a code word that I have that Mrs. Sarge knows. If I say this, we're fighting. And when you get to that point, you know, it's not like fisticuffs like in the schoolyard. You are gouging eyeballs, you are gouging the groin, you are tearing open the throat. You fight like an animal that is about to be euthanized. Okay. And you don't give up until you got nothing left to give, or you've gotten away, or they've ran away. Okay. So have a code word for that kind of thing. You should also, for those of us who are on social media like this, and now my image is out there, my voice is out there, there's thousands of hours of it. It is now extremely easy to replicate somebody's voice and video. Extremely easy. It's a couple clicks of a button at this point. So somebody could create a voice that sounds like Sarge calling Mrs. Sarge and saying, hey, I'm in trouble. I need you to FedEx money to, or whatever they call it when you send money to somebody, Western Union or whatever, really fast. Well, unless I say that code word, that's not me. Okay. Think about that one as well. And for your kids, now, when I was a little kid, we had a comms code word for me, and I'm not going to tell you because I still like this word still has meaning for me. But that if my parents ever had to send somebody to pick me up, I was not to go with that person unless they gave the code word. Okay, so think about that with your kids, and make sure it's something obscure like fudge ripple or something like that they wouldn't normally say. Make up some word. You make up a word instead of like having an actual word. Even better, right? Like their name backwards or something like that. That if a stranger comes up to them and says, "Hey, your mommy and daddy said I need to pick you up." Okay, what's the code word? If they don't have the code word, your kid is to start screaming and running and scream for help. Help! There's a stranger trying to grab me. You know, whatever. That's, for little ones, really, really important to do that. And they used to talk about all this stuff. When you remember this in the 80s, y'all, they used to talk about this, and they don't really, there's no like PSAs around this kind of stuff anymore. Let's see. Yeah, people can freak out after disaster, and that's, also not just the stress can do that to somebody who's normally coping really well, but somebody who's already struggling with something severe, it's going to really put them over the top. Really going to put them over the top if it's like schizophrenia or something like, a real severe mental health issue. Anything spoken over the ears? Whoops, sorry, we got a flood warning. Sorry. We're good. We're safe here. That's for my city. We've got a flood watch right now. Anything spoken over the airways aren't secure. Talk like someone. Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree with that. You should always assume that there's a possibility somebody's listening. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. You know, of all the things for people to get, let's sidebar here for a second. Of all the things for people to get offended by, really, really, like that's what you're worked up about in the world. You're worried about a stupid jeans commercial. Your life must be really great if that's the thing that bothers you. And the same thing for the Cracker Barrel logo. You know, if you're really that bothered by the Cracker Barrel logo, you must be doing okay. If that's the thing that's really bothering you. Meanwhile, we still don't have the Epstein files. All right. Freeze or run the freeze. How long does the freeze typically last? That's a great question. Um, till the threat's over, or till somebody moves them or gets them out of there. You know. Let's see. Yeah, if you can run and get away from it, if you can flight and you're not like, you know, Wayne in his response video to one of my situational videos that I did, Wayne had said, you know, like he's trained, he's had real combat experience, you know, so he's in a much better position to go hunt and stop the threat than someone like me who's never done anything like that. I've had some training, but I'm not experienced like that. I'm not John Wick. I'm not going to take out five guys with my little pistol, and I'm not going to take out five guys with an AK-47. Now, if they're in my sight and I see that they're about to execute somebody, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to do my best to try and stop them. But if it's not a situation like that and I can get off the X and get to safety and get home to my family, sorry, folks, I'm going to do that. I'm going to help as many people as I can along the way, but I'm not going to go back into a building. I don't have that kind of training. And if anything, I'm being a liability now to the first responders who are going to be hopefully trying to stop that threat. So be realistic about this stuff. Know what your level of skill is, what you can accomplish, and when you're more likely to be a problem than a part of the solution. Yep. Comm security must be maintained. Yep. Think about code words, right? Code words is always great. I'd imagine that it's different for each person. Yes. So fight, flight, freeze. It's genetic. And what we think in the field of psychology, what we think is that the first defense mechanism to be developed by humans was probably freeze, because 300,000 years ago, most of the predators that humans would have been predator animals that humans would have been around would have hunted by sight. So those who froze and stayed very, very still had a higher survival chance, and then that gene would get passed on. We think, you know, we don't have a way to interview somebody from 300,000 years ago. We think that fight got developed later when humans learned to hunt in packs and in groups and could take down larger game. Okay, like elephants and wild, you know, big wild boar and things like that. When humans learned to hunt in packs, that's when fight became more of a survival response. Um, yeah, you probably have more experience than that than me. When I've seen it, they're just kind of standing still with their mouth a little bit gaped, and their eyes have this like dead look. And even like you're responding to them, you're asking them questions, and they're not responding to you. But I know you've seen way more stuff than I have, brother. So I believe you. Yep. Just look around. Thank you, Jenna. Just look around your building. You'd be surprised. And if you're small, you can probably find even better hiding spots than somebody who like me, who's 5'11". Let's see. My first trip back. It's coming down with the Rona. Oh, you're sick? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, one of my coworkers is sick right now, and I was actually in the with Rona. I was in the room with her the other day, but I feel fine. That was 5 days ago. I don't know how long it takes. If I haven't, so those of you guys, I know Janet, you said you're a nurse. If I haven't shown symptoms within 5 days, I'm probably fine, right? Hey, Kentucky, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. After more of, okay. Hope you're healing well. Yeah, I hope you feel better, Orlando. Sorry to hear that. Wilderness first aid. Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. My bedside manner can use some work. I think I missed the context on that. I frozen when I was grinding straw and the straw caught fire. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever had the freeze experience because would you even know if you did that if somebody else didn't tell you? I can tell you that when I've been in emergencies, I usually am in action. I don't know that that would always be the case because there might even be like that there's situational stuff that would maybe make even a fight person go into freeze or flight. Let's get this man roasted. Oh yeah, I'm on Instagram as well. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Tammy Harder, hi there, everyone. Oh, okay. We're gonna have to do the roast. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for helping out the channel. All right, we'll get to that in just a minute. Yep, that's a great one too. We love Jace Medical, and there's a discount code in there as well in the description. All right, I want to take a couple minutes to start the discussion on this. Yeah, but there, Scott, I haven't looked at the whole thing yet. Is there anything of value in there? Did she give any names or anything? I don't, from what I understand, no. It reduces your chance of being each. So this is good from Wayne. With each enemy combatant, dramatically reduces your chances of being successful, even when trained. Going into that situation, don't expect to walk up. Yeah, that's fair to say that. I'm no John Wick, but I'll do my best, as many as I can create. Hey man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate that there's brave warriors like you that have already put your lives on the line. You know, I've got love and respect for all of our veterans and all of our first responders out there, and what you guys do for the country. I can't say that enough. All right, last little bit here, and then I'll let the AI roast me. So I want to start a discussion because we've been talking about this situation pretty well, and of course I'm going to continue to do that. I got to bear with me. I'm trying to change a screen here. All right, stop screen. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, bear with me here just a second. All right, so I want to start a discussion about what about the aftermaths of something like this, right? Let's say that they do manage to pull this off. Let's say that we get multiple October 7th style attacks in the country, and there's a lot of damage. There's a lot of hurt and deceased first responders. There's a lot of hurt and deceased civilians. What do y'all really think the aftermath of that is going to be, right? Like, so the only thing I think we can compare it to was after the towers got struck and the Pentagons that got struck in September of 2001. I can't say it the way that we normally say it because YouTube doesn't like that for some reason, just like I have to say Rona instead of something else. But in the aftermath of that, you know, travel was, especially air travel, was extremely restricted. Businesses were closed for a few days. At least where I was living in Boston, in Boston area at the time. Businesses were restricted. Cell phones, you couldn't reach loved ones for a while. That eventually got better. If you needed a first responder in New York, there was going to be a delayed response time. So all of that stuff, I think it's reasonable to assume, multiply that, it would be even worse. So you might not be able to get your food and your medicine for a couple days. You might not be able to get adequate or what you were used to for 911 response, right? So there might be, if something's going down, you might be your own first responder for a prolonged period of time. I can tell you here in my neck of the woods, when we have hurricanes, that there are people in my area, mostly gang members, that take advantage of that. And they go around and they loot houses of people who are evacuated. So there are lots of good people in the world, folks. There are lots of good people in the world, but there's also some not so good people in the world. Sometimes when I'm talking to my first responders at work and we're having a conversation about this, I tell them my estimate is that 5% of the world, let's just say the United States, 5% of the United States, in my estimate, this is just my opinion, this is not based on any research or anything. 5% of the United States are complete sociopaths. These are people that would, if they didn't think they could, if they thought they could get away with it, would cut your throat in your sleep, sexually assault your family, take everything you have, and then piss on you. They're that sociopathic. Okay. That's 5% of the planet or 5% of the country. I think somewhere between 5 and 10% are completely altruistic people. Based on, I've worked with thousands of people in therapy. Remember, when people are working with me in therapy, they tell me their deepest, darkest secrets, right? And so people have told me where dead bodies were. People have told me about crimes that they've committed. People have told me all kinds of stuff that they would not normally tell people. So that's what I'm basing my observations on. I think 5 to 10% of the country is probably altruistic, meaning that these are genuinely good people who are highly motivated to help other people. Okay. They are almost always going to make the right decision. Almost always. And then I think the rest of us fall somewhere in between that. Most people are generally good people, but if they sometimes get a chance to get a little edge up in life, they might take it. Maybe some people fudge their taxes a little bit. Maybe somebody is flirting with that clerk at the bank, even though they're happily married, right? Maybe somebody is taking a little extra money out of the tip jar. Maybe somebody is stealing a pack of cigarettes from work. Maybe somebody is stealing a part from the construction site, right? Like all these things that you shouldn't do. They're wrong, right? But occasionally humans falter, right? We make mistakes. People occasionally do things that we shouldn't do. And I think that like 90% of the country falls in that they're mostly good people. They mostly do the right thing, but occasionally they screw up and do something they shouldn't be doing. Are they evil? No, but they sometimes do bad things, right? Those are not the people I'm worried about. I'm worried about the 5% that's sociopathic. Those people will take advantage of the situation to do very, very bad things. Okay. And those people you're going to have to worry about. If first responders can't get to you, you're going to have to worry about now not dealing with the terrorists, but dealing with those people too. So you have to make your own decisions for your family, what you intend to do if somebody tries to bust in your house and cause harm to your family. I know what I'm going to do. You'll have to decide for yourself. Okay. And if you only believe in harsh language and begging and pleading for your life, that's on you. Okay. I don't think that plan's going to work for you. You have to, so aftermath, what else? Could we have a martial law situation? I don't think it would be a full-on martial law. I think you would see curfews. I think they would say only people who are going to and from work should be traveling right now, because they wouldn't know in the aftermath of this, like, is there another stage to the attack coming? I think we would have a lot of shakeup in, if any government people were hit as part of this attack, then the chain of command might be a little bit screwed up for a little while. National Guard would be activated. People would be, this is unfortunate, but people who were innocent, but maybe were on a suspicious list would probably be rounded up. Maybe that gets straightened up. Maybe not. Maybe they end up in Gitmo, right? I'm just giving you what I think how this would play out. I think you would see, unfortunately, a rise in targeted attacks against other people. I'll just say it that way, people of other religion. And that's not okay. So when we talk about preparing for this possible sleeper cell situation, it's not just the attacks, it's what's going to happen afterwards. Okay. Now, do I think this leads to complete collapse of the United States? Nope. Nope. We do not go down that easy, folks. You do not take down this country that easy. Would it be devastating? Yes. But this would not end our country. There would be a tough time for a little while until America gets its feet back under us. And then, as Livingston Man said on the stream the other night, now you've awoken the sleeping giant, and we're going back to war. And this time it's going to be even worse in terms of the devastation that from Afghanistan and Iraq wars that we had, right? Like, I would not be surprised if our country decided to do a little tactical nuclear warfare at that point. And you know what? If we got attacked like this, I support that. Sorry, people can disagree with me, say, no, we should never use nukes. I would be so pissed off if this attack is successful that I would be beyond the point of having empathy for any area that has done this to us. Maybe there's not very many people in the country that think like that. Maybe there's others. You know what? You want FAFO? Let's see how that goes. All right, last time, let's check the chat, and then we'll go to, let's let the AI do its thing for me. Okay, let's see. Scrolling back just a little bit. All right, this is the Epstein stuff. They published the parts where she said President Trump was not involved in any indiscretion related to Epstein. Yeah, and that's all I saw as well. So much mental trauma. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The aftermath. So remember, like after the attack on the Pentagon and the towers, depression and anxiety and trauma spiked through the roof, and this would be even worse. Yeah, you'd be people scrambling to buy things for their self-protection or whatever, anything, gasoline, trying to get gasoline if there's no gasoline for a while, food, medicine, right? This is why we prep folks, so that we're not one of those people fighting through a city like this to get a quarter gallon of gasoline. Martial law could be declared in a situation like that. I think it would be what's the word I'm looking for here? Mitigated, I guess. Like I think you would see National Guard on the street corners in major cities. I think there would be curfews. I think there would be rules about going to and from work. So I guess, I mean, if we want to say that's martial law, then yes. I tend to think of martial law as even worse than that. I don't think they would go around and confiscate firearms. I know people worry about that. I don't think that would happen. Yeah. I regretfully, I agree with you, Mike. That's sad and scary, Wayne, but I hope that number is not as high as you're thinking. I'll take a look at that. Thanks, Lee. I'm going to put that up for a second so people can see it. Mike, so we were talking about that a couple weeks ago about like getting good training. If you didn't get the chance to watch it, I really recommend you watch that stream that I did with Wayne, Becoming Dangerous, and Steve, Corsair Trainers. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Yeah, that probably would happen. Yeah. So what Mike's talking about there is, if you guys remember the Boston Marathon bombing, in the aftermath of the Boston Marathon bombing, when they were looking for the two brothers, when the one brother was left, they literally were going house to house without search warrants, going through their houses. Now, since I know people in that area, I can tell you, like, people are like, I'm not letting anybody in my house without a search warrant. Okay, whatever. You figure that out when they're trying to look for a terrorist. I know that like SWAT and police and everybody that was involved with that, they went into houses, they saw things like drug paraphernalia and things like that. Nobody was arrested for that kind of thing because that's not what they were looking for. So please, I can't promise you what would happen, but please don't let that, like, oh, I have, an ashtray with a roach in or whatever you do, I don't care. Like that's not what they're looking for in a situation like this. At least that wasn't with the case with the Olympic bombing, Boston Marathon bombing. Sorry. Well, if that happens, guys, then that's going to turn into something else. People want to side with the enemy, then they can FAFO too. Okay. You guys know what that means. Scrolling down. The horse on the other side, especially. Yeah. Be careful if you're an American living in the United States. Choose your sides carefully. Choose something like this goes down, you want to be on the right side of it. When Americans get pushed into a corner, believe it or not, I think overall as much as we're thought of as like a warfaring nation, I think most Americans, not necessarily the politicians, but most Americans want to avoid it when they want to stay out of conflict. But if you back us into a corner like what happened after the towers were attacked, we will go and mow your grass and take you down with it. Like people might not remember, but in 2001, there were people ready to basically carpet bomb the entire world in retaliation. Don't back us into a corner and make us come back fighting. It's a big mistake. 10% psychopaths and altruistics mixed in. Yep. All right. Think I got down to the bottom. Yeah, and I don't think so either. Prepper for the Ages. I think the citizens up in that area in Boston were not only very compliant, but they were very grateful for the police for trying to find the younger brother. I don't want to say his name here, but he's still on death row, by the way, going through all kinds of appeals. Eventually, he'll be executed. But I think he's on death row. He's in a federal prison. I think he's awaiting a death sentence. All right, here we go. Let's go over to AI. Bear with me here for a second so I can get that screen set up for you, because I'm not just going to read it to you. You're going to see it. So hang on. Let's end with something a little bit of fun. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Okay, let's do share screen. There we go. Okay, so let me do that. Cool. All right, so I started to set this up. Hang on one second. All right, so I started to set this up. So I scroll back here, and I'm not signed in, as you can see up at the top right. So I said I asked AI. This is Copilot, by the way. I asked AI if it knew who Prepping with Sarge was, and yes, it was able to not only identify me, but some of my top videos, blah 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 blah. And I said, by the way, that's actually me. I'm doing a challenge for my audience. If they give me 5 super chats, I'm going to let you roast me like a comedian. Can you do that? And so it gave a little sample here. Prepping with Sarge is the only guy who can make vacuum sealing rice sound like a TED Talk. You've got that calm, tactical wisdom, but also the vibe of somebody who alphabetizes their MREs and gives pep talk to the tomato plants. That does sound like me. All right, so then it asked if we wanted some zingers to get started. I said, nope, we're going to do this live. So here we go. So I'm saying, if you can't read it, okay, Copilot, they met the goal. Time to roast me. Let me have it. Oh, Sarge, you asked for it. Let's turn up the heat like you just found a Mylar blanket in July. All right, tactical teddy bear. You call yourself prepping with Sarge, but let's be honest, you've got the energy of a guy who'd apologize to his bug out back for packing it too tight. You're out here teaching people how to survive the apocalypse, but you still sound like you'd offer a looter a granola bar and a hug. Oh, it's so true. Oh God. Urban survivalist or HOA president. Oh, you've got more gear than National Guard Armory, but you still mow your lawn in straight lines like it's a tactical maneuver. If the grid goes down, your neighbors won't even notice. They'll just think you're hosting another backyard seminar on how to dehydrate kale with dignity. The only prepper who labels his feelings. Oh, you got color-coded bins for rice, beans, and emotional vulnerability. Guys, this is killing me. This one's for our lentils, and this one's for when I feel underappreciated as a content creator. Bro, your pantry has more emotional range than a Netflix drama. Oh, gas mask glamour. You did a whole video on gas masks like it was a fashion haul. This one really accentuates the cheekbones and the filtration system. Chef's kiss. You're one step from launching Prepper Coutier, coming soon to a bunker runway near you. Apocalypse therapist. You're the only guy who can make how to survive a survival. You're the only guy who can make how to survive a societal collapse sound like a guided meditation. Breathe in. Now visualize your escape route. Exhale. Now let go of your attachment to municipal water. Your legend, Sarge. A tactical sage with the heart of a poet and the pantry of a doomsday librarian. Thanks for letting me roast you. Your audience clearly knows a good sport when they see one. Want me to stick around for a victory lap or a Q&A with the chat? Not tonight. Not tonight. I will give Copilot a thanks. Thanks, Copilot. And scary how accurate. You're welcome, Sarge. And hey, when you spend your day stockpiling beans and wisdom, it's only fair someone recognizes the layers. You're like an onion in tactical boots, rugged on the outside, surprisingly nuanced within. That's not a compliment. Honestly, it's a testament to how well you've built your brand. You've got that rare combo of grit, heart, and just enough dry humor to make prepping. That's what I go for, guys, to try to make prepping feel like a lifestyle instead of a panic button. If I nailed the roast, it's only because you made yourself roast worthy in best way. Want to keep going? No, I'm good. I could flip it and do a hero's tribute. No, maybe another time. Your gear set up like auditioning for a reality show. Your call, commander of canned goods. We're gonna let that be enough. I took enough beating for one night. All right, so let me go ahead and close that out. You know, I mean, I think Copilot could have been a little bit more harsh, but that was plenty in the feels, and I have to say, actually, really accurate. Like, it kind of nailed me. I did a poll years ago asking my audience like what was the most likely way that I was going to die in the apocalypse, and the audience voted the most likely way that Sarge was going to die in the apocalypse was basically trying to help somebody that was trying to kill me. I think that's accurate. I appreciate y'all. I hope you had a fun time with the ending here in this, and you know, it's fun to end it with something like that after talking about such a serious topic. I hope this situation that we've been talking about never happens. I pray that I'm wrong. I would love to be able to come on here and tell you all I was wrong, and I acknowledge that, and I own it, and I'm glad I was wrong. I'm praying for that. Okay. I'm laughing so hard I got myself stuffed up. I'm going to go ahead and read your comments here after we close out, because I know you guys probably got a few good jabs in there too. Have a great weekend. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will be back Tuesday with some first aid kit reviews, I'm pretty sure. And then Thursday, I'll be on Vision Preparedness's live stream. And then next Friday, I should be live here again. All right. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge. Have a great night.